This video is a continuation of 11.2. There should be a previous video in which we went over triangles and trapezoids. I would start there and then come to this one. In this video, we're going to just look at areas and perimeters of rhombi, which is the plural of rhombus. So if you remember what a rhombus is, so here's kind of what a rhombus looks like. Remember that all of the sides are congruent. So the perimeter is 4 times S, since all the sides are congruent. And the area is 1/2 one diagonal times the other diagonal. And if you also recall, in a rhombus, the diagonals intersect to be perpendicular. Okay, they are not congruent diagonals. This is the area formula that you can use. This area formula is not found on your Keystone formula sheet. So another way that you could approach a rhombus is also by splitting it into different triangles and adding the area of triangles together. So you could take like this whole top triangle and add it to the area of this bottom triangle, or split it into 4 triangles. So there's a couple different ways that you can find this area. In addition to just using what this area formula is too. For my examples today, I'm going to show you for the first one using this one, as well as kind of briefly going over using the area of triangles as well. So let's look at this first example. So this is a rhombus. We're going to find the area of this rhombus. If you recall, so we have our 2 diagonals here. Diagonals still bisect each other. So if this side's 7, this side is also 7. If this side's 9, this side is 9. I'm going to first do this one using that area formula I gave you. So 1/2 one diagonal times the other diagonal. In this picture, you're looking at the length of the whole diagonal. So 9 plus 9, this diagonal is 18. And this diagonal would be 14. So now let's substitute in. So we have 1/2 times 18 times 14. I can multiply that all together. So I would get 1/2 times 18 times 14 is 126 square inches. So that's one way to find that area using that area formula that I gave you that is not found on your formula sheet. You could have also split this up into triangles. So for example, maybe I took this triangle and I added the area to this triangle. Well, this triangle, its area would be 1/2. The entire base would be 14. Height would be 9. To get an area of 63, this triangle, 1/2, again 14 times 9, would give me 63, and 63 plus 63 does give me 126 square inches. So it's really personal preference which one you prefer. Again, this one not on the formula sheet, Keystone formula sheet. This one is, whichever you would like to use. Okay? Now we're going to look at a little bit of a tougher example, the only other example we're going to do dealing with a rhombus. So we are given one diagonal of the rhombus, and we are given the perimeter of the rhombus, and then we're going to find the area. So in order to find the area, we basically need to somehow use the perimeter to find the other diagonal of my rhombus. So I'm going to make a quick sketch of this rhombus, keeping in mind all of the sides are congruent. So perimeter is 4S. So if the perimeter is 164, 164 equals 4S divided by 4. Each side would be 41 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and label that. So each side is 41 inches. And now I'm going to draw in my diagonals. So one diagonal, and the diagonals intersect to be perpendicular. One diagonal they give me is 18 inches. So that's the whole length. So that means each side is 9. And I need this diagonal. In order to do that, notice what we're forming here in the middle. We're forming 4 different right triangles. So I'm just going to look at one of these right triangles. So looking at this right triangle, I'm going to redraw it over here. That would be my right angle. I know that the hypotenuse would be 41, and one of the legs then would be 9. And I need the other leg that is then going to help me find that whole diagonal that I need. So that's going to be Pythagorean theorem again. I'm going to do that work at the top. So look at the top. So x squared plus 9 squared equals 41 squared. Okay, so we're going through Pythagorean theorem. So I get x squared plus 81 equals, let me just do 41 squared quick. Can't think of that off the top of my head. 1,681. So that means I get x squared when I subtract the 81 equaling 1,600. And x when I take the square root then is 40. Okay, so on my picture here, back to my rhombus picture, each part of this diagonal then is 40, making the entire diagonal 80. Now I can you can use triangles again. Feel free to use triangles. I'm going to go through using that 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 and find the area. So 1/2, first diagonal that was given was 18. The second diagonal, which is what we found, is 80. Okay, and then 1/2 times 18 times 80 gives me an entire area of 720 square, oh, not meters, square inches, 720 square inches.